This is Microtransactions and EA's Corporate Strategy by Christian D. and Lauren Kelly. Now, what are microtransactions? Microtransactions are low-cost purchases made after the purchase or download of a game. In the mobile space, they're also known as in-app purchases. So in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store, if you see that phrase, that's what they're referring to. Some types include cosmetic items, such as hats, costumes, a new paint job, other things that make you look cool. There are time savers. Some games have a progression system that allows players to get more stuff just by playing the game, and time savers let you get that stuff faster. Other games simply prevent you from playing the game until a certain amount of time has passed, and time savers also let you do that. You spend money to just play the game. There are performance enhancers, such as a better gun, a faster car, a better football player, that sort of thing. And some games offer subscription services that let players give X dollars a month to have any combination of the items listed above. Sometimes these subscription services are tied to progression systems that get you more cosmetics that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So you have to subscribe or else you don't get these things. The most egregious example of microtransactions are loot boxes. And loot boxes are akin to packs of baseball cards or trading cards or other things like that. They contain a collection of other random items of various values and rarities. You don't know what you're going to get. It might be cool, something cool, it might be something lame. Who knows? An example on the right is a loot box from Overwatch, a game by Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard also in the news these days, but for different reasons that will not be covered in this presentation. So what's the problem with microtransactions? For one, they have no spending cap, so you can just spend as much money as you want on them, and companies would love you to keep spending money. They're not going to implement a cap, because why would they? They're happy to let you spend their money. Some implementations have been scrutinized as predatory by the general public. In particular, loot boxes have been compared to gambling. And the comparison is easy to see there. Gambling, you spend money into this system, and random chance determines what you get, sometimes nothing. And loot boxes are the same way, although usually with loot boxes you do get something, just maybe not the thing you want. And unlike in gambling, there's little to no regulation of odds or transparency. For loot boxes, you have no idea what are the odds. Sometimes, like the best you'll get is rarities for certain items, but you don't know what that means in terms of what the actual percentages are. Some games require players basically to spend money to be competitive by design, and this incentivizes overspending. Games like these are often referred to as pay to win, because you have to pay to win. Sorry. Now, these mechanics exist in games marketed to children. Many stories abound of children just draining their parents' bank accounts on these kinds of games. Parents will just hand their kids an iPad to play this game, get them to shut up for a few minutes, and suddenly they're out thousands of dollars because kids don't know what it means to spend money in these apps. A particularly egregious example that we're focusing on today is Electronic Arts. They are one of the biggest video game publishers in the world, established in 1982. They've reported $4.95 billion in revenue during fiscal year 2019, which is a lot of money. Some of the games they publish include like big-time series like Battlefield, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Titanfall, etc. In 2013, they got the exclusive Star Wars license to make video games. Any game in the Star Wars franchise that you played in the past couple of years has been from EA. They also have several annual sports franchises like FIFA, Madden, NHL, and Ultimate Fighting. Now, as part of their annual sports series, they have a service called Ultimate Team, which is a fantasy sports service where you build your own sports team by purchasing players either directly or through loot boxes called player packs, which contain a random assortment of players, some better than others. Now, 28% of EA's revenue in fiscal year 2019, which was April 2018 to March 2019, came from Ultimate Team microtransactions alone. It's $1.3 billion just from Ultimate Team in 1 year. And as you can see from this chart, that's the single biggest thing they get the money from. The next column has other live services. That's other microtransaction systems for other games. So it's not just Ultimate Team that's making the microtransaction money. The next column over is mobile games, which is almost all microtransactions and ads. So as you can see from this chart, they're making probably about half or more of their revenue on just microtransactions for that year. The biggest part of Ultimate Team is FIFA. It's their yearly soccer game franchise, of which FIFA 20 is the most recent release. Now, these games are rated E by the Electronic Software Ratings Board in the United States and PEGI 13 in Europe. That makes them suitable for all ages. And like the top competitive teams in this game, used by like players in their championship series, are worth $27,000. Like that's textbook pay to win right there. And this is rated E game for minors, and they are encouraged to spend money to be competitive. Now, EA has directly denied any responsibility for player spending, and has come so far as to call them just surprise mechanics. In an address to the UK's Parliament, one of the top executives this year just referred to them as surprise mechanics, comparing them to fun stuff like Kinder eggs, fun things like that. And they claim that all of their monetization schemes are perfectly ethical. So what's being done about these things? Governments are starting to put in some regulation. In 2017, China required all loot boxes to display the odds for winning each prize in that loot box. 2018, Belgium and the Netherlands just banned loot boxes outright, finding them to be a violation of their gambling laws. And in May of this year, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican from Missouri, announced the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act, which would ban loot boxes and pay-to-win systems in games marketed towards minors. This is a bill that seems laser targeted at games like FIFA's Ultimate Team, which is a pay-to-win game that is supposed to be suitable for all ages. Now, what kind of ethical questions can we ask about this topic? For one, what type of dark pattern do these microtransactions, particularly loot boxes, fall under? Are they psychological dark patterns? Ethical? Maybe both. Are loot boxes deceptive or persuasive design? Does EA have any responsibility to police player spending? Should mechanics like these be available in games aimed at children? Can game companies be really trusted to ethically monetize their games? And do governments have a responsibility to regulate these monetization techniques? And there's some references, and that's our presentation. Okay, bye.